That music too loud. Damn. That's better. Oh yeah, he back. He snagged, but most importantly, big old fucking dirty sack, am I right? The entire time that I was away, I was just thinking about fucking... Not exactly what you said. But like I made 2 clips real quick, and then I looked at someone else's clip. Oh. Let me show it to you. I'm gonna show it to you. I couldn't get it out of my head the entire time after I saw it, especially because of what you were saying. I reckon if I just I remember what it was called. If I just go to Twitch and look at clips, it's probably gonna show up because it had so many damn views. Like, if I just go fucking look at Morty's fucking clips. Dude, how pretty is his streams? Popular clips, that'll do.
0 out of...
Oh, what? Isn't not how that works. No. Maybe if I go... No, these are streams, right? Know how this works. Maybe if I look at my own one? Yeah, here it is, Watch this shit. Look at this guy.
You gotta like move your pelvis.
I see. Okay.
What the fuck are you looking at?
What?
Jesus, did you see that shit? You're fucking cooler.
What? No, I was observing.
You're fucking Kuma. To be honest, his reaction was like, what the hell? No, you're supposed to... Well, her reaction was, what the hell? But also his reaction was just as equally, what the hell? It's like... children being horny. It's like getting upset over the fact that you're hot is like, alright, okay. And then him to be like, oh yeah, that's totally valid that you're upset over being hot. It's like, okay. Not that obviously he didn't, like, he was arguing it with his words, but with his actions, he was saying, no. I respect you enough to give you energy in my reaction. It's like, she didn't deserve it at that point, so he is Akuma. Mord, it's not about what you saw. It's about what you're going to see again. That's what it's about. I feel like I know this dance as well. It's probably like some sort of -9 shit. Something that I'm not allowed to show on stream. Actually, he has a safer work stuff. Or she, or it. It has safer work stuff. Regardless. That's your dance. Ah, sorry. Why did he get in trouble though? For staring at Booba. He got in trouble because it's just looking for attention, I guess. All right, where were we? We need to push. I did check, by the way, anyone watching this who understands how this works, I did fucking check the file before I just did that. And that's why I wear sunglasses inside. Oh yes. Tell you what. I do like wearing sunglasses and a face mask in public because, like, people just don't know. And you can just get away with fucking looking at anything. There's no social consequence. You could be like standing somewhere and someone's like, has he got tunnel vision? Like, you could stand next to someone and they'd be like, oh, I don't know how to approach this. Like, what do I do? Especially if you got headphones on. Oh, people are so fucking like, oh. And they'll just give you all the fucking agency in the world. It's the greatest. I love it. What was I gonna do? Down. Well, let's have a look at this right now. Let's have a look-see. I'm definitely at the point where if I create... So the plan was to have 2 enemy spawners, and that'd be like one of the main variances, because I only want to use the one type of enemy for now, unless we have Minecraft bids together, maybe? So if I make another sort of slide on the right side, then all is well and swell, because I said so. No, because I can then get into looking away from that, and then get into making sure that works and that works. And that works. So the map is for now done. Not all the way done. Can we... Very important that we disable light change dog shit effect, or pull the plug on HDRP for now. For this Dreamski. Yeah, the headphones are the best hack. Especially if you play like loud shit, because then they're like, I can legitimately hear him playing shit through his headphones. He can't hear me. And they think they're being polite, when really, you've intentionally done it just so that people would be more polite to you. It's blatant manipulation. Not blatant. Not blatant manipulation. But it's a good thing to do. I think if everyone wore headphones, then it would be cool too. It'd be interesting to see how that would work out. People bump into each other and be like, ah, sorry, I didn't hear you. Create level, stitch everything together. Yeah. Up. Have either of you... What a scene to imagine. Yeah, that would be very strange, wouldn't it? Have either of you two listened to Hello from the Magic Tavern? Because I'm realizing as I'm listening to myself in the third person how much I... Not directly quote, but how much I, like... do things because I've listened to so much of it. You don't have to listen to it. It's... If you like the idea of improv, I suppose you specifically, because I know you liked playing D&D, I would say you should check out maybe... You know what? Now that I think about it, I did spend a long fucking time making this. Sometimes I just like sit down and I just like do something for a very long period of time, as you can tell right now. But I made a... Yeah, made this. So I listened to what was a lot more than 50 hours, somewhere around 200 hours of podcast stuff, and I cut out a lot of the filler. So this is only the best episodes and the episodes that are incredibly relevant for the narrative. These are like the ones that are like, those are fucking pisses. So I'd say, look, if you listen to you listen to 2 of these episodes and you still don't like it, I'd be surprised because I've misread your personality completely. But then on top of that, I'd also say, yeah, there's no need for you to listen anymore. Not that you have to listen right now, but I will chuck this link at you just in case you do find 10 seconds while doing some chores. Yeah. I ended up eating like way too many of those fucking cowboy boys. Like a whole third of the fucking packet. That's probably 150 grams. That's actually not that much. It's a meal. Oh yeah, I suppose if you're going for walks a lot, like podcasts are the bomb. Fucking bomb. I should do that. I should listen to a podcast while going on a walk. I'm not sure if I've ever fucking done that before. I'm keen to try that out. If I remember to do that, or if I remember the idea of it, you know what? Go for a walk while listening to a podcast. Nice. Oh yeah, the silence is definitely good for you. However, if you want your brain to be full of very good juice and only the best of ideas, I would say meditation is second to stuff like this. I would only consider meditation as like a way to procrastinate. Hang on, I'm not sure if I'll dox fucking everything if I do this. No, that's fine. I'd say it is very much. I am gonna duck shit. This stuff. I got a bit of a collection of like some of the best self-help shit that I've heard. You screw this into your brain and you're just like, holy shit. That's the tasty shit. Like fucking how to be optimistic during challenges, and you're just like, holy shit, I want to be optimistic during challenges. Like that's so much more.
This is optimal.
Well, I feel like objectively this is more healthy than having moments of silence to yourself by listening to
Let
this.
one negative event impact the other aspects of your life and the challenges that you face. Number 2, isolate the incident. Another difference between the optimist and the pessimist is that the optimist sees difficulties as a singular event, while the pessimist sees them as universal. This means that when things go wrong for the optimist, he or she looks at the event as an isolated incident, largely disconnected from other things that are going on in their life. A pessimist will take the incident and add it to a laundry list of other things going on.
Leave that
in their
running
life.
for a bit.
They have a largely negative outlook on everything and tend to expand the stress they feel towards one issue onto other unrelated areas of their life. So to remain positive, try to remind yourself that just because you are facing a setback in one area, whether that be a project at work falling behind or not hitting a milestone set, does not mean that the entire goal is obsolete. You may simply need to modify your plan. A single setback may seem big at the moment, but in reality you can quickly overcome most setbacks with the right outlook. Isolating the incident allows you to take the setback in stride and then move on from it. Number 3, view setbacks as temporary events. For example, if something you were counting on failed to materialize, and you interpreted it to yourself as being an unfortunate event, but something that happens in the course of life and business, you'd be reacting like an optimist. The pessimist, on the other hand, sees disappointments as being pervasive. That is, to him, they're indications of a problem or shortcoming that pervades every area of life. If you find yourself in this situation, take a moment to remind yourself you are always capable of making change and nothing is set in stone. A glass half full mentality leads an optimist to believe that something better is coming, giving them something to work for. A pessimist gives up, letting a single setback affect the other areas of their life. This can cause a negative ripple effect on your life, while the optimist stays motivated in any situation. Number 4, don't take failure personally. It can be extremely difficult at times to see the positive side of failure. An optimist sees events as external, while pessimists interpret events as personal. When things go wrong, the optimist will tend to see the setback as resulting from external factors over which one has little control. An optimist tries not to take the situation personally. Although failure is not something anyone wants to deal with, the optimist uses it as a learning opportunity. If the optimist is cut off in traffic, for example, instead of getting angry or upset, he'll simply downgrade the importance of the event by saying something like, "Oh well, I guess that person is just having a bad day." The optimist doesn't think they were cut off because the person had malicious intentions against them. The pessimist, on the other hand, has a tendency to take everything personally. If the pessimist is cut off in traffic, he or she will react as though the other driver has deliberately acted to upset and frustrate them. Looking at the bigger picture allows you to act calmly and work through any situation as the optimist did in this example. In fact, you can even go further and turn any negative situation into a positive one. By allowing the person to cut you off, you may have helped them get to work on time or meet a deadline. Remember that the inevitable setbacks that you face are temporary, specific, and external. View the negative situation as a single event that is not connected to other potential events that is caused largely by external factors over which you can have little control. Simply refuse to see the event as being in any way permanent, pervasive, or indicative of personal incompetence or inability. Resolve to think like an optimist no matter what happens. You may not be able to control events, but you can control the way you react to them. The earlier you learn this, the happier you will be in life. And number 5, remain calm and objective. An individual who is truly an optimist has the ability to be both objective and unemotional when caught up in the inevitable storms of daily life. This person
I was talking about this the other day. When I first started streaming yesterday, I was like, with this specific thing, to stay unemotional, right? To stay unemotional and fucking objective, but also to push optimism at the same time, that doesn't come naturally. Like, no creature does that. No creature's like, all right, I'm gonna step back. I'm gonna think. I'm gonna make sure that I don't let the animal side of my body take control. I'm gonna look at just the numbers. And then I'm going to recycle the numbers in such a way that the only thing left on my mind is the good numbers, the ones with the green lights. Like, that doesn't fucking come naturally. And once someone hears this idea of like to do that, and they try it out once, after they try it out for one time, then they're like, that works. I might try that again. If they do it like 3 times, that's it. You're fucking hooked. It's like the only thing you can think about anymore. It's just like, well, the only thing you can think about in retrospect. During events, it can be tough, obviously. But in retrospect, it's like, damn, if only I had have stayed unemotional and like went through the process of looking at everything mathematically, premeditating a reaction, and then going, yeah, because that's the best you can hope for. The only time it's not optimal is when it's like you're in a physical danger thing and it's like, I don't know, you got like 10 seconds to react. How often is that? It's not, you know. And in those situations, adrenaline will take over. The animal part of your body will be like, no, leap. All right, yeah, leap another way. So I can completely confirm this because it was experience. Yeah, it's everyone's experience. As far as I know, like, I'm sure, like, unless someone is wired differently to us, like, I'm gonna continue with this, by the way.
person has the ability to continue talking to themselves in a positive and optimistic way no matter what is happening in their life. This allows them to keep their mind calm, clear, and completely under control despite the external circumstances. As this individual is more relaxed and aware, they are much more capable of interpreting events more efficiently. So when an optimist is met with a challenge or area of stress, they are much better equipped to overcome it. They're able to stay in complete control, act proactively, and not let external forces cloud their judgment. On the other hand, a pessimist may get caught up in their emotions, leading them to get angry, upset, and distracted. This leads to them handling problems poorly, thinking irrationally, and making things harder than they really have to be by acting reactively instead of proactively. If you feel overwhelmed or like your blood is boiling, practice being calm in these situations. Although easier said than done, staying calm and thinking positively can change your life. Become more optimistic. Now that you have these 5 steps to guide you, you can begin to put these ideas to work in your everyday life. Remember that setbacks are temporary, external, and whenever things go wrong, they are usually caused by a variety of external events. Say to yourself, what can't be cured must be endured, and then get back to thinking about your goals. You just listened to the post titled, How to Be Optimistic During Challenges by Brian Tracy of briantracy.com. And I'll have some comments, but first, my days have been pretty busy recently as I'm moving.
That's really cool, man. That's so cool. All right, let us move on to another one because now I'm fucking hooked. This one.
And positions, working as a potential force for good in the world. I've been so looking forward to this program starting and the opportunity to share what I'm learning with my readers here. The first lesson that really stood out to me that offered practical advice that I started using immediately and to great benefit is the following on mindful self-management strategies. Introducing mindful self-management. I listened to Professor Jeremy Hunter's talk on mindful self-management during a particularly miserable week for me. I'd just come out on the other side of Outside Lands weekend with both incredibly fun memories and a devastating double whammy of a cold plus sinus infection. I'd already been sick for a week and a half, and my depressed brain was starting to feel like I'd never get better. I couldn't do much, but I knew I could watch a few of my inner MBA classes and it would likely even lift my spirits. It couldn't have been a better time to stumble upon the concept of mindful self-management. There were so many parts of Professor Hunter's talk that made me pause and type "wow" into my notes. The foundational concepts he outlines is so simple yet so powerful and easy to forget. We live in a distracting world with many things vying for attention at all times. The news, our phones, our emails, social media, our WFH partners. All of these distractions vie for a piece of your attention, and where attention goes, energy flows. Self-management in the modern world is all about managing the flow of your attention and the way your nervous system responds to the flow of your attention. What is self-management? This was a concept I could grasp intuitively. I describe self-management as an individual's ability to manage their emotions in a way that helps them accomplish their goals. Better Up, the professional coaching app, further defines self-management as, quote, our ability to manage our behaviors, thoughts, and emotions in a conscious and productive way, end quote. The following quote was also helpful for understanding the relationship between self-management and EQ, self-awareness, and self-regulation. Quote, this self-management definition has its roots in emotional intelligence theory, where this capability may also be referred to as self-regulation. Self-regulation is supported by our capacity for self-awareness, which helps us create conscious access to our thoughts, desires, and feelings, end quote. Something else I found interesting when researching this subject, the #1 hit on Google for self-management strategies is from a social emotional learning program for children, similar to what Martin Blank, a practicing positive psychologist who I recently interviewed for the blog, has created. It's been so cool for me to see how the disparate pieces of positive psychology and the science of flourishing come together across my various studies and conversations. Back to the inner MBA lesson. According to Professor Hunter, understanding the nervous system requires an understanding of a few core concepts and equations. Emotions equals energy plus information. Struggle equals pain over acceptance. And struggle equals pain times resistance. Your nervous system regulates your emotions by helping regulate the energy you bring to new information. Your nervous system dictates how much you struggle by bringing either accepting or resisting energy to pain that arises. Information and pain are often outside of our control. They're inputs we're forced to deal with in an increasingly complex and fast-paced world. Those who are best equipped to meet the challenges of the modern world must rely on sophisticated nervous system management to regulate their emotions and mitigate the constant sources of pain and struggle.
I feel like this is heading towards another way of saying, yep, optimism. I'm calling it now. I haven't heard this one in a while. Like, I started listening to it the other day and I didn't get all the way through it.
One example Professor Hunter brought up that resonated with me, and likely many others, is how we see the struggle equation play out in the last 1.5 years of COVID. So many people find themselves asking, when will this be over? This can be seen as a form of resistance to the pain of living in a prolonged pandemic state, which amplifies your own perception of struggle in the situation. A better question is to be asking, how can I make the most of the current situation, which is out of my control to change?
Called it.
For some of us, the right answer to that question is to move to Hawaii. Nervous system energy zones. Another useful categorization mechanism Professor Hunter introduces is the concept of the green, black, and red zones when it comes to the nervous system,
energy,
which can be used to describe the energy you're bringing to the information coming your way. Green zone, flourishing, characterized by sleeping well, feeling energized, relaxed, confident, open, humorous, patient, safe, spacious, engaged. Black zone, shut down, characterized by avoidance, giving up, depression, sadness, poor digestion. Red zone, chaos, characterized by worry, panic, blame, impatience, impulsiveness, short term. In one of my lessons, the professor asks us to track how often we find ourselves in each zone in our daily lives. A typical day for me, especially as it gets darker earlier, looks like this. Wake up in green zone, blip into red zone during work, back to green, Dip into black zone after work, back to green for bed. Try doing it for yourself to grow your own self-awareness. Living more of our lives in the green zone helps us to mobilize more sophisticated responses to the complexity of the world, while living more of our lives in the black or red zones is energetically costly and will cause all kinds of mental and physical wear and tear, including making you look and feel much older than you actually are. Yikes. Self-management strategies. So, how do we go about spending more time in the green zone? The answer seems to lie in greater self-knowledge in the mind and more breath in the body. Number 1, meditation. Professor Hunter shared that the Tibetan word for meditation means to familiarize, which blew my mind with its resonance for my personal experience. Meditating allows me to slow down and look inward to such a degree that every time I do it, I become more familiar with myself, my thoughts, fears, emotions, goals. If I'm able to clear my mind and sink deep enough into a meditative state, the thoughts that bubble up past the calm are usually the ones I most need to pay attention to and work through. Number 2.
Can I just hear those lyrics real quick? No, I can't. Alright.
Cold showers. These can do wonders for your heart rate and breathing, so Hunter recommends slowly turning the shower from hot to cold at the end and increasing your length of exposure each time. Number 3, heal your past traumas. This is a big one. If you have experienced real trauma in life, take your own experiences seriously and work with a therapist to start healing from these experiences.
Wait, I did hear these.
And number 4,
actually.
Self-dialogue. Bookmark this practice because you'll be able to use this template every day of your life. When faced with a negative emotion, work through the following. Acknowledge what you're experiencing inside, accept your inner experience, and redirect attention to what nourishes you. Mindful self-management in everyday life. I used the self-dialogue strategy liberally while sick, and I could feel it helping lessen my resistance to the situation, which in turn decreased my suffering. Each day that the horrifying can't be seen in public cough would keep me confined to the house and couch once again, I'd, number 1, acknowledge the disappointment and discomfort of being physically unwell, as well as the anxiety and pressure that's present when I can't operate at 100% at work. Number 2, accept these inner experiences, silently whispering, "You make sense, you belong," to each feeling. And number 3, redirect attention by making cup after cup of honey lemon tea, keeping up my daily meditations, and binge watching Nancy Drew on HBO, i.e. what nourishes me. And you can do this too. Whether in the middle of the workday or in a conversation with your best friend or partner, the opportunity for mindful self-management shows up in all that we do. If done correctly, we'll stay in the green zone longer and more often, and continue to meet challenges that arise with grace and calm.
HBO brings me
You
grace.
just listened to the post titled Mindful Self-Management Strategies, How to Regulate Your Emotions in an Increasingly Complex and Chaotic World by Kylie Lassard of ablueskymind.com. And thank you to Kylie. Some great tips in here. I always like awareness exercises. Tracking when you're dipping into the red or black zone or when you're in the green zone could be really helpful. In fact, I just mentioned how I mood track and recommend that to everyone. This is very similar. And same with the self-management strategies. You've heard me recommend meditation and self-dialogue before, where self-dialogue could simply be journaling or asking the questions she laid out in this post. As for cold showers, it might not be right for everyone, even medically, so if you have a heart condition or some other medical condition, I recommend asking a doctor first. But I do know some people who swear by cold showers. I've done it off and on, and it's inconclusive for me, but that's the whole idea of this show. Not everything works perfectly for everyone. Some are huge hits, others are nice things to try. See what works for you, experiment.
Have you ever tried cold showers, Morty? I have to focus to say Morty. That's crazy. Cause I've tried them before, but yeah, I think it's more than anything else. It might just be placebo for these people, where they just need something different, and once they do that different thing, then they're like, yeah, this has totally helped me and changed everything, and now my brain's on a different track, and I don't have to focus so much about everything else. I think it's more of a trigger for these people. I'm surprised there is not a brush size option. Yeah. This was a free asset. The level's nearly done. So, all is well. In the guy's examples, it very much so looked like he didn't expect maps to be much larger than, like, this. Yeah, that. Does my mouse show up? Yeah, it does, okay. So, via that logic. Again, it's pretty damn good. There's very little reasons to avoid it, I feel. Like, someone would have to be extremely deep into pessimism to be like, oh yeah, totally gonna avoid optimism at all costs and self-improvement fucking. Gary V. Sounds like we're listening to Gary V now.
keeping breakfast does not seem to be good at all, right? So there's study after study after study showing decreased lifespan for people that skip breakfast.
Dr. Longer, I'm in deep shit then if that's the case, because I don't think I've eaten breakfast in 25 years.
Does all of it have music?
In full detail. And we're going to talk about something that I've been doing my whole said earlier in the year, a lot less interviews, but ones that are more meaningful to me, around subject matters that I'm interested in.
Really good at
people I'm
audio,
interested
isn't
in,
he?
Events that I'm interested in, and today will be no different. Dr. Longo is with us. I'm going to allow
That's
Walter
right.
to
Of course, I
introduce
click on
himself
like one of the
in full
most
detail.
embarrassing things he's
And
made.
we're going to talk about something that I've been doing my whole life, long before it became something that I think is on many more people's radars. And we're going to poke and prod around the history of it, the current of it, entrepreneurship, and many other things that I want to get to in this episode. But let's get into the intro part. Dr. Longo, how are you, my friend?
Good. How are you?
I'm well. Why don't you take the floor for 2, 3, 4 minutes and tell everybody who you are? Full pledge. Give us some context.
Okay. Well, I'm a biochemist by training, trained at UCLA, also a neurobiologist by training. And I'm now a professor of biogerontology, so studying aging, basically. And I'm also the director of the Longevity Institute at USC. And then I run a program on cancer, molecular oncology in Milan, Italy. And that's where we do most of the cancer work that we're carrying out. And my interest has always been, since I was 19 years old, aging. Well, I used to be a musician, then I was so enthusiastic about aging and excited about this world, and I was just surprised back then that everybody was not interested in this, and I have to say, in the last 30 years, everything changed. Back then, aging was viewed as a crazy science, and we were asked at UCLA, why would you work on aging? And now everything has changed, but so that's all I've been doing since then. The biochemistry, then genetics of aging, was involved in the discovery of some of the key genes in the regulating lifespan, including the TOR-S6 kinase pathway in aging regulation. And then eventually I was a student of Roy Walford. Roy back then was the guru of longevity and nutrition. Was a famous pathologist at UCLA that was my mentor for a number of years, and since then we've been working on nutrition in parallel with the genetics of aging, working on nutrition and aging, and then eventually defined this fasting mimicking diet as a way to keep all the benefit of what Roy Walford was working on, which was called calorie restriction. So what happens in people if you just severely restrict calories all the time? So I didn't like that, and so eventually we switched from that, a continuous restriction of calories, which works, it's fantastic in some sense, but bad in other senses, to a periodic fasting mimicking diet. Is it possible that you can do something only 3-4 times a year for 5 days and you get all these effects, positive effects of calorie restriction, but not the negative ones, right? So,
Dr. Longo, why at such a young age did you fall in love or get passionate about aging? Why did that happen?
I don't know, but I was a music major, and I just kept thinking about aging for some reason. I speculate.
Were you scared to die? Was it vain oriented? Like you didn't want to look older? Was it vanity, or was it fear, or something altogether different?
No, I mean not older. I mean, of course, I was 19 years old, so I think it might have been, when my grandfather died, I was 5 years old, and I was actually in the room when he died, So I just think that connection, when you're 5, being in a room and just having this sense.
He died of a heart attack?
No, he died of a cancer that he wasn't treating, and he was fairly young, 75, 76 or something like that. So I just thought I wasn't affected by it. At least I didn't think I was affected by it back then, right? I was very cool, and I looked almost like I was in charge of the situation as a 5-year-old. Yes. But then I think that just stayed in my head. Life is not permanent, and so maybe I should work on that, right? Rather than anything else that I can think of.
I understand. So something very interesting with me is, I grew up. I was born in the former Soviet Union. I came to America when I was 3, and my parents worked hard. My mom worked all day, raising family. My dad worked all the time, and specifically my dad, he wouldn't eat breakfast or lunch. And he would always eat a lot of calories at dinner, and that's how I got kind of brought up, and that's the track I had. And then somewhere along the line, in my mid-20s, you know, I started to gain weight for the first time in my life. And in my late 20s, I was gaining enough weight that I was like, wait a minute, this sucks. But I had no interest in working out or eating properly. And so what ended up happening was it was so easy for me to go from waking up until 7 or 8 p.m. without eating. My body, like, it's 1:38 p.m. right now. I haven't eaten breakfast or lunch, and that is my natural state. And I, you know, my friends are all so obsessed with lunch, and I always, you know, they always, when people meet me and get to spend time close to me, they're always fascinated by the no lunch thing. But it's always been my whole life. I worked in the store and there was no time for lunch. That was when we'd get a rush in the store. And so when I was in my late 20s and I wanted to lose weight, it was easy for me to just fight at night. I used to always joke with my mom, it's like I can do Yom Kippur once a week. You know, like I could fast. You know, it wasn't easy because you're so hungry by night when your body's structured the way I was doing it. But then later in my late 30s and early 40s, the last, you know, 7, 8 years, I really got serious about health and wellness. I work out all the time. I work on stretching, a lot of different things. And one of the go-tos for me when I'm struggling a little bit with food management has been fasting, and I really enjoy it, like very much enjoy it. Sure. What is it for most people, because I've been talking to a lot of people about it, because it's obviously become, this is something you've been doing for your whole career in some shape or form. Obviously, as you know, you're with Prolong, you're very in it. Fasting has become much more top of mind for a lot of people over the last half decade.
Yeah.
What is it in people's minds when they first, so I've been talking a lot more about it, this is why I wanted you on the show. What is it that scares people so much? Like, it's unbelievable to me how many times I'm saying to my friends, you know, my friend will be like, man, I want to start getting my act together. Like, have you thought about fasting? That seems to them as, no way, I can't do that. I can't not eat in a day. Why is that such a...
I think it's more of a cultural thing, right? He seems alright. I'm not sure if I would prefer to follow one guy as opposed to listening to another guy who goes out of his way to collect excerpts from as many different people as possible. Otherwise, I feel like I'd potentially stagnate on one set of advice, and I think that's how a lot of people sort of end up. Morty getting hungry. What a laugh. What a chuckle. What a good foot. Man, you're a burn boy. Come on. Get behind this guy. I'm over here fucking eating my cowboy juice fucking. The squiggle means short, right?
Too many people want social content to do everything.
TikToks. I don't want to be doing anything related to TikToks. Okay. Yeah, if he's more of a TikTok guy, then I can't. I'm incompatible with this guy. I think TikToks are very unethical. I think it's very clear how well it works on the human brain and how well it distracts the human brain. And I think I'm super glad that it disgusts me. Like the idea of it. Like someone sends me a TikTok and I'm just like, okay, I'll watch this. And then I've watched it and I'm like, okay, I did that for you. And now I'm clicking off. To me, it's like, TikTok's like worse than smoking. Especially because it's not, again, culture. Because it's not, what's it called? Yeah, I shouldn't have closed that. Not looked down on. Where I think it really ought to be. I think it's worse than gambling. Honestly. Where was I at? Oh shit, I'm way behind. You'd be surprised by how much I eat Mordecai, like I'm getting hungry. I used to be sick even though I ate a lot. I would eat 4 people's worth of dinner, holy crap. TikTok format, I was a size small. Yeah, I think the issue with TikTok is kind of the opposite of self-improvement. Talks about TikTok in the context of growing a business and how powerful it is. Yeah, it is. Cheating is very good. Like eating ice cream, that'll give you calories. You're cheating. You're damaging yourself to then achieve something faster. You're when I download assets from the asset store rather than programming something, I'm cheating in the sense that I'm not learning how to program shit. And down the line, I get in all sorts of fucking trouble because I get all these huge problems where I'm like, how the fuck does this work? Like, yeah, short term, yeah. Perfect, it's great. You as a business, you can cheat. You can abuse people's brains. And then long term, you've got all these customers who are absolute pieces of shit. You don't see the connection. But these customers that you've ruined the lives of, they're interacting with you now, and now they're making you upset because you've surrounded yourself